Episode 30, baby.
But you know the dealio. We want competition to make the broader ecosystem a better place.
Because I'm getting a little antsy in my pantsy.
I think we can conclude that it was a great success.
Yeah, aggressive, offensive, and dumb as a bucket of nails.
I have not heard about as...
Within fucking 4 months, you know, they've had one of the most successful TGs of this very choppy market.
I think it looks like something my future 8-year-old son could put on his wrist and then go to school with it.
Cool story, bro. So SaaS powered by Solana ID. Anyways, continuing.
And welcome to Sol Brothers, together with my dear friend Eno and myself, Simon. And we are Solana's finest podcast. And our job is to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to help you stay on top of the latest and greatest on Solana so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, I think we need to rebrand as the Sick Brothers because I think we're both a little under the weather. How you feeling, brother?
Yeah, I'm getting back into it. The last days I was a bit just buried on the couch, trying to get better. Post-accelerate sickness that found me. You seem to be okay, bro. I don't know. You seem really well. What kind of symptoms did you have? Like, you had some stuff going on, or?
Yeah. You know, I think that most. I mean, this is an open secret. I think most people know this. Like people who are. I mean, you know this too. But it's like after the conferences, I always die. It's weeks of adrenaline, right? Like usually I go on 2 to 4 week sprints where like I'm moving around all over the place, and then I like get back to home base, and then I crash for like a full day where I just need to sleep and I'm feeling horrible and jet lag and all the different things. So, but you seem like you have it a lot. I mean, I woke up this morning feeling right as rain, but I think that reasonably, you know, you must be feeling a little tired.
No, I actually, the thing is, we are now 1 week, pretty much 1 week after Accelerate New York City. And I woke up the day of the flight from New York to Europe with like a very sore throat. And I was already feeling something is creeping up. And then I had like, you know, 1 8-hour flight, 1 2-hour layover, another 4-hour flight, and so on and so on. So like a lot of travels. And then I arrived here in Bulgaria and I was like dead. And then I spent the next couple of days just on the sofa and in the bed, just sleeping. Honestly, because I'm a bit sick. But I think I'm getting back to normal. This year helps as well because I'm, you know, this brings me back into a better mind space. I don't want to, you know, lay on the couch all day long. It just feels really, really bad for me. You know, we're both very energetic people and we need to put our energy into the universe. And if we can't, it explodes from the inside. So I'm happy to be here again. I'm happy to be talking all things Solana because I think there's been plenty of things last week that happened. Obviously, because of Accelerate, there were so many launches and news on Accelerate. I checked the show notes and I think it's probably double the things that are on there that actually went down. So we have to, we're prioritizing a few things here. But yeah, I think we definitely have a big agenda today. We're going to do a bit of price action as normally, talk about Solana initially, talk about some ecosystem projects and their new product launches, some sick stuff that I saw on the agenda. And we'll see if we can finish off with a bit of fun and drama on the timeline and call it a day. Because today, you know, it is episode number 30. So enjoy it while it lasts. It's the 30th EP of Sol Brothers.
Episode 30, baby.
Pretty big. No, I think we have done it with almost no breaks from week to week. Now since almost 30 weeks of live streaming and recording, and it's getting serious. You know, it's getting serious.
Well, actually, I'm a massive piece of shit because I did take a week off, and you covered on that week too. So more accurately, I have taken 1 break, which is 1 week, and you have taken exactly 0 breaks. So I apologize for that. You clearly, your streak is bigger than mine.
Well, I think you know now you get my back next time.
Yeah.
Brothers and not the Sol brother. But yeah. Anyway, For everyone who's listening to this beautiful podcast, thank you so much for tuning in to EP 30 of Soul Brothers. If you're listening to this on YouTube, then please make sure to also subscribe to our account, because we are ramping up things and we're shipping the latest and greatest content for you on the Twitter, on the YouTube timeline. And we're also making some special episodes, some interviews. We recently interviewed not only Kash from Jupiter, but also Jakey was on the interview section. We had Solana Sensei on the interviews, and we're shipping piece by piece also these top interviews for you. And I recorded a new format as well in New York, and I wanna see how that goes in future. We're kicking off Gym Brothers. Basically, I'm taking people, including you, very soon, into the gym, and while we're working out, we're asking questions, we're probing, and we're finding out how these founders and Solana people perform in the gym and how they answer spicy questions under pressure. So kind of a fun new format that we're spinning up here at Soul Brothers. And I think the first one is going to come very soon with our dear friend Vibu from now Jupiter, former Drip, that actually went with me into the gym in New York. Excited about that. When are we going to do it? I think, are you ready for this?
I am super ready for it. So one small thing though, Vibu is still Drip. He's also Jupiter as well. He's just added to his existing scope. But like, I am super excited to see how he's performed in the gym. And like, I am not ready for it. but who is ready for it, right? So we should just go in and fucking do it.
No one. Exactly. That's the spirit. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
How would you rate his performance in the gym? Like, what would you give it a 0 out of 10?
Definitely in the upper area, maybe an 8. The thing is, I didn't test him properly. I could have gone much harder on him, so that's why I can't. I didn't see the peak performance because I didn't probe him that far, just out of respect for the poor man, because he carved out 2 hours of his busy New York Accelerate week to come and hit the gym with me in New York. But yeah, I think he's definitely really fit. I think he's normally used to home workouts, honestly, and less weights. So that was a bit out of his comfort zone. But I hope that, I asked him if he's gonna consider lifting weights a bit more, and he said definitely feels good to move some more heavy weights instead of only the body weight at home. And definitely a fit person. I can say that.
Okay, all right. Well, I look forward to not beating Vibu's score and probably earning a solid 2.
We'll see. I think the thing is, it's all up here, right? Like if you're, I don't, it doesn't matter how much weight you actually lift. It matters how much you actually pull through when I count, right? And when I not let people off the hook when they want to stop because it hurts, but you need to keep going. Right. That's when it counts. And I think that's mental strength, right? And we usually have that as founders because otherwise we wouldn't survive here.
Oh, you are in for a very, very unpleasant surprise when working out with me. I fucking suck at the gym. All right, but let's start with the comfiest part of the podcast, shall we? I want to hear all about this price action because I'm getting a little antsy in my pantsy, about where Soul price action is going. So you want to tell us what's going on? What the fuck is going on, Simon?
So if you're listening to this on YouTube, you will also see the Solana chart right now. If you're on the podcast, we're looking at the 4-hour chart of our favorite Solami token, SOL, and we're at $172.64 trading right now on the 29th of May. And we are right now in a sideways phase since the peak at 185, I would say. So we saw this impulse that's still confirmed. The same thing, which we've been counting now since a while, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have either topped already in a 5th wave to the upside at 185 and are now in a corrective move, or here's the alternative scenario. We're zooming in now to the 1-hour chart, and we're trying to make sense now of the more short-term price action here on the Solana chart. And the thing is, my main thesis is right now still visible on the chart as well. In yellow, we see the kind of bullish move to the upside, $185. We topped there. The 5th wave are completed, and that was kind of a 5 waves in the lower count, and then in the higher count, it's the wave number 1. Okay, so this whole structure from the 7th of April low to the recent high, there was a first wave to the upside. And now we are in a corrective move. And I think still my primary scenario is still that we haven't seen the correction play out fully yet. Corrective moves can be either lengthy, that means they can play out over time, and it starts to look like this. So this corrective move right now, it's just basically very low volatility, sideways action, kind of boring chart, honestly, because we're not breaking out of this range between $160 and $185 since a while now, right? Basically since beginning of May, the full May was sideways action in this range. So that is corrective move. That's already a correction. Okay, just the fact that we're going sideways without breaking further up, right? Still, normal corrections, especially as per Elliott waves, would go a bit deeper to the downside, especially if we actually really call this whole move to the upside a wave one. Then the wave two should actually bring us down to at least $140, because otherwise the wave two would be a bit too shallow. Now, prime scenario, right now we are in an A, B, C correction. We already saw the A wave to the downside. It bottomed at $160. Then we saw a strong move to the upside again. Actually, not that strong. We saw a move to the upside again, which was a B wave to the upside. Normally, B waves are either lower than the former high, which was the fifth wave here, but they can also in some cases break out slightly, which happened here. So the B wave broke up slightly to the upside, can still be considered a B, and now we're in the C wave down, as per my primary scenario. And that C wave is not done yet. That C wave is playing out right now. And now we can zoom in a little bit further into that C wave if you want to trade the swings on the daily charts even. We could now be technically in a third wave down. Okay, so now I'm in the kind of micro counts. Obviously, the more we zoom into the charts, the less predictive this Elliott analysis actually is, right? So the chances are now, zooming in, the chances are lower that this will play out as I'm predicting it. But here's what I think. Wave one to the downside, two to the upside, $180, corrective move. And now we're in a third wave down. So that's basically this leg here. This third wave down right now that is not fulfilled yet could bring us down to $160 for 100% Fibonacci extension, or all the way down to $149. That could all be a third wave. Then it would be a pullback up in the fourth wave and another lower low in the fifth wave to the downside. And that would basically be the end of the C wave. And after this ABC in red is concluded, ABC, after that, right, that would be basically the conclusion of the second wave here in white. And then we can see the third leg to the upside, which can bring us much higher again, definitely above $200 in my opinion. Now, that's my primary scenario. Can something else happen? Yes, of course, something else can happen, because we could also see something like a bullish scenario here to the upside, which could be a 1, 2, and now a 3 to the upside, 4, 5. That could also happen. But this second wave here to the downside went a bit low, in my opinion, a bit too low. So not sure if that's really the case. Or actually, this is not super realistic, what I just said. I think this here is more realistic, a 1, 2, 3, because third waves are normally impulsive. So this is the alternative scenario now. A 1, 2, and then a 3 to the upside instead of the B. That's the alternative scenario to the ABC correction. And then the fourth wave here to the downside was a bit too deep. Normally it should have stopped up here, and then now a fifth wave to the upside. The fact that this was a bit too deep makes this less plausible, in my opinion, and makes the red scenario more plausible. So, like I said earlier, I am right now still in a short position myself. No financial advice. We're not telling you what to trade, and I can't predict the prices. I can only tell you what I'm doing, what we are doing, and I can tell you what is plausible. Right? Does that make sense, Eno? And do you feel a bit more relaxed now and a bit more relief that you know what's going on the chart?
Yeah. So I think just in general, it's looking like okay. So you have a short position open right now. I am slightly more bullish, but that's based not on TA at all. And I think it's I think I think things on the macro are looking quite good. Especially post accelerate. So I wouldn't be but I mean, like, look, I also am not betting against your shorts, so I'm not putting my money where my mouth is.
But you have a good point. Keep going. I mean, why do you think do you have any further comments on why the fundamentals are looking good, or what gives you the feeling that you have like some sort of bullish feeling right now in the market after talking to people, talking to people accelerate and so on and so on?
So this is just my gut, right? And what
Yeah,
my
exactly.
gut tells me is that there were a bunch of conversations and deals that were closed between major Solana institutions, Solana protocols, and American institutions. So
Yeah.
what I think that looks like over the next month or two is a literal onslaught of announcements and partnerships and RWAs being taken on chain and pilot programs and mainnet. Just I think there's a whole universe of
Oh
things that
yeah,
are about to be announced because
I agree.
those ideas were either started and incubated at Accelerate and or were already in the works for a very long time, but after meeting face to face with the founders and realizing how serious Solana is as a chain. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what's going to happen over the next 4 to 8 weeks, which is why I think. But I don't know uh, how how you trade your perps. Like I've known you to have a long open for months, but that was very much I don't think what you were looking for. That's you'd like to
Exactly.
be in and out as soon as possible.
Yes. So when yeah, I think when you leverage trade, there's I think two major strategies you can do. Actually, there's probably plenty of strategies, but the two strategies that I see very feasible is either you swing trade as quick as possible out of the trade. So you open a position, kind of high leverage, and as soon as you have some profits, you don't risk further. You take the profits, you put your stop loss, maybe remain 25% in, right? And then if the stop loss gets triggered, cool, then you took your 75% profits, or you make even more profits, right? If it plays out further, or you swing trade with very low leverage, maybe a 2x, 3x, something like that. But then with a larger position, right, in nominal amount, and you keep it running for longer. That's more like a fundamental bet on the price. In my case, I do fundamental bets with spot positions. That is the majority of everything, by the way. So just keep as much as you can in spot. Probably best is 100% always. And then all perp trading that's happening in my case is then just to swing trade in like daily swings, right? So my
Sure.
short, I'm trying to close my short yesterday, right? Like I'm just waiting for the price to drop for the C wave to play out, basically. Because
Mhm.
you're totally right. I think there's right now a lot of fundamental bullish news inside of the Solana ecosystem, inside of the broader crypto ecosystem, and even inside of the macro that we're seeing. So um, there was like a really, really good blog post again from Arthur Hayes. What do you think about Arthur Hayes? Do you
Mhm.
consume some of his content sometimes?
Yeah, like I respect his work at BitMEX, even though I know he
Hmm.
got caught up in some shit over there. I don't know. He's one of those Bitcoin maxis that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But I don't know. I haven't seen his recent content, so I'm not quite so sure. I just remember the last time I looked into his shit, I was just kind of like, take it or leave it.
Fair, fair. I see that. Just looking at the blog posts, I think there's a lot of value in them. I just read a recent blog post of him where he kind of laid out his kind of midterm thesis or even long term thesis right now for crypto. And he's just very knowledgeable when it comes to macro analysis, right? Having lived in China for a long time, he knows the Asian market very well. Being U.S. American, he knows the American market very well. Having like a TradFi experience, like background, now also very deep crypto background. His takes are pretty. They're pretty. I think they're based on a lot of fundamental knowledge, right? So, and he's really bullish, right? He's really bullish. He's kind of a perma bull, anyways. But his takes are that tariffs are not going to last, right? Tariffs are basically just one of Trump's instruments that he plays to kind of um, make people move, bluntly said. So scare them a little bit. So tariffs are like the break is going to extend. That's what he foresees. It's not sustainable, which is going to be pretty good for risk assets. And he also sees quantitative easing happening a lot again as well, and money printing in that combination. So yeah,
Speaking of tariffs, have you heard of Taco TACO?
what happened? No.
Trump always chickens out is the new acronym, which is true. I mean,
Ah,
you can call it a bargaining chip, but it's not a bargaining chip that it uses particularly well. Like if you want your bargaining chips
yeah,
to work well, then you need to show that you mean business. By the way, I think tariffs are a shitty bargaining chip, but if you are going to use it, then you should use it to maximum effect. And
taco.
so, yeah. Yeah, and so a reporter said that to his face. He's like, "You ever?"
Oh, damn.
He got super angry. He's like, "I've never given up in my life." It's like, yes, you have, plenty of times actually. Um,
Oh, damn, yeah. That if you tell this to his face, then I can imagine he's gonna be very aggressive and offended by that.
oh yeah, no, he
This
he
man has
was
an
he was
ego.
very aggressive and very offended. So yeah, no,
That's how
but I
that's
see.
how we like him, or not.
Yeah, aggressive, offensive, and dumb as a bucket of nails. All right, moving on to I think the latest and greatest updates to the Solana ecosystem. Shall we start with our first update? Is that cool?
Yeah. What do you got for me?
Okay. Okay, so this one is a fucking doozy. Jupiter Lend, now powered by 0x Fluid, which is a protocol from Ethereum, but they are obviously moving on to Solana in partnership with Jupiter. They are launching, borrow and lend for Jupiter, and obviously, what you can see from the video looks like there's going to be three markets that are available: Sol USDC, Sol Jupe Sol, and Jupe Sol. So yeah, you can essentially borrow assets by lending others. So I think in this case, it would probably be what I would assume would be you lend USDC for Sol, right? For example. And I mean, Jupiter has amazing distribution. I'm actually a little curious what this does to the borrow and lend market on Solana, right? Like the top player
Hmm.
clearly is Camino. They have
Camino.
$4 billion in deposits, but with Jupiter, I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's gonna be a lot of net new capital, people who don't participate in money markets even now, but obviously there's going to be some folks that move their capital from Camino to Jupiter Lend. What's your take on this?
I think it is great because we want competition, right? That's one thing that I always like. On Ethereum, we have obviously the big one Aave that has been around for a long time. But then we also have Curve that are pretty big on Ethereum, MakerDAO. Like there's a few names on Ethereum that actually are pretty huge, and I don't want Camino to be the only one that's gobbling up everything. I love Camino. Shout out to all my homies from Camino. But you know the dealio. We want competition to make the broader ecosystem a better place, and you to work harder on your own protocol. It's a good thing. And Jupiter is definitely a competitor that you need to take serious because they do have the capital to build this out very well. They do have the partner with Fluid to build this out very well. Fluid has been around since a long time on various ecosystems. And they, yeah, together with Fluid, I think they can bring a consumer product here that can also find a big amount of users, as Jupiter already has them anyways, right? So
Yeah.
definitely we need to take that serious, and looking forward to get started with that. What are the next steps, for Jupiter Lend? Do you know anything about the timelines, or do you know if it's live already or something?
Yeah, they said come in September 2025, and then we have Loki who lives in the southern hemisphere saying perhaps rephrase summer 2025. Summer is December to January for me. So I think we're talking about the northern hemisphere. So that means we're looking around like June, July timeline. But they had already announced a version of this for JLP. I don't know if this is related, but if you remember, they have hundreds of millions of USDC just underutilized. It's not being used for shorts on their perps product, and so I'm
Mm.
curious to see whether or not that USDC is going to be a part of this of Jupiter Lend. But again, this is coming this summer, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. People can already go to jup.ag/lend and you can pre-register your wallet if you want. We have 2.4 million wallets registered as of this moment. Very
Yeah.
interesting. And
Uh,
yeah, so yeah, that might be a good idea if you want to use that product soon.
I heard from the Jupiter chat that there's actually quite a few bots, and they can tell because none of these wallets are funded. They don't have anything
Yeah,
in them, and so
yeah.
they are putting in a lot of work right now to make sure that the people on the waitlist are actually people. So
Yeah.
I think that they're going to be changing the waitlist, so you have to have a funded wallet in order to to sign up. But yeah, no, it's clear that there's huge demand for this product. There's clearly hundreds of thousands of signups, which is already impressive. I don't think it's 2.5 million. But yeah, I think there are at
Yeah.
least a few hundred. I think that's quite a few beta testers, don't you think, Simon? Hundreds of thousands of people.
Damn. I mean, for crypto product, I'd love to have that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, congrats to our friends at Jupiter, but we're not done with Jupiter yet, Simon, because we also have to talk about humafinance. There was a vote now recently. Did you end up voting on that proposal?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I did vote,
Do you want?
and I also approved. I approved what's happening.
Same here.
Obviously, I like Huma. I like Herbal, the guy who's running it. So, cool product. We covered it last time already when the DAO vote was happening at that moment of time. We talked about it briefly, and now it's concluded. What's the outcome?
Yeah, it passed. So if you look at this little nifty summary tweet by Jupiter DAO, you'll see that 86% of Jupiter DAO voters were for the Huma/Jupiter alliance vote, with 9% against and 5% abstaining. In terms of what exactly the vote was, it was 1% of the supply goes into of the Huma supply. So 1% of the Huma supply goes into kind of like an allocation for Jupiter DAO, so people can buy the pre-sale. Correct. And then there's also a strategic treasury swap of Jupe and Huma tokens for a set period of time. I believe it was 3 months. So that has been approved, which is amazing. So looks like humafinance is doing very well because they also had their token drop, and man, oh man, like it went extremely well. Did you see the results of the Huma TGE?
I haven't seen everything yet. No, tell me something about it.
Yeah, sure. So just going into obviously ISC because that's the old token, but Huma. Yeah, so if you look at the Huma launch, zooming out, you'll see that it's this chart's no good. But it launched at a market cap of, I believe, like a FDV of 75 million, right? What you're seeing is a 7.5% or 7.5x ish, like around 8x ish increase in the token. So it's obviously performing very well. I think the price to start off was 0.007 cents, and now it's at 5 cents, which is absolutely incredible. And obviously, this chart is not doing it justice because of this spiky little move here. But yeah, no, the token performance has been holding up quite well, considering. Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, the multiplier is crazy. Like 75 mil up to now 500 plus. That is now, like, compared to other token launches these days, definitely super strong. So I'm pretty sure that Huma got a good amount of demand from the Jupiter community, from the broader Solana community, but also because the product is quite straightforward, especially the yield product is very easy to understand for consumers, and then they also have a pretty big institutional side, as I know. So I think that probably helps as well.
I think that what makes this so interesting is, I mean, Huma kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like the first time I had ever even heard of Huma was at Catstanbul, and I'm like, okay, new protocol, like definitely it's something to pay attention to. Within fucking 4 months, they've had one of the most successful TGs of this very choppy market. I don't think that there's been a token launch by a major protocol that's been sponsored by. I mean, Huma is. I don't know if sponsored is the right word, but has been given, the thumbs up by some pretty major groups, right? Like Solana Foundation works in collaboration with them for PayFi Summit. PayFi is a major narrative being pushed by the president of Solana Foundation, Lily Liu, as well as Akshay, who also works at Solana Foundation. And he's like, Herbal is old roommates with Meow, and has access essentially to. I mean, I'm not saying that Jupiter works with Huma that closely, but they're clearly very aligned. So it's just like being blessed by they worked for it, but like they clearly have done a lot of work to make sure they've positioned themselves very well for their TGE, and I think it's paid off. So that it's just incredible to see.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, big shout out to the launch. I think we can conclude that it was a great success. So yeah, good job, Huma team.
Great success. Moving on, of course, we have Meteora version 2, which is an example of a launch that was announced at Accelerate. It's one of the many products and services that were announced at Accelerate. You want to tell us a little bit more about Meteora 2?
100%. I'm actually pretty excited about it because I think that has been a pretty big one, like one of the bigger announcements, because as we know, Meteora is a core pillar of the Solana ecosystem by now for liquidity provisioning. They have basically three main stakeholders, which is launchpads, liquidity providers, and then obviously tokens that need liquidity. And that is the core of Solana. These three things. A lot of things are about tokens. So we couldn't imagine a world without Meteora right now at this moment. And Meteora V2 is bringing not only a new neat UI that actually looks pretty cool. The interface is a bit easier than before. Meteora is not a simple platform to use. It is quite technical. And now with the update, at least the user experience becomes a little bit more easy by polishing the interface a little bit. But then next to a new UI, you also have some new features that are implemented as well. You have a new portfolio tab, basically, or portfolio section where you can manage your positions and also track your real-time P&L, which was until now only possible with third-party apps that were programmed by some community members. Now you have your real-time P&L in your dashboard. Then we also have we also have like a complete revamp, by the way, of the brand. If people haven't seen it yet, so Meteora itself has also used the moment to also update the logo. So the Meteora logo is now got a bit of an update. It's not a new logo; it just got a little redesign. And then I think overall it looks pretty cool from my point of view.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how both. Have you seen the old Jupiter logo?
Not sure. I mean,
So it used to look like this. It's very subtle, but do you see how it used to be? It's like orange and blue, and so like this was like a very slight rebrand. But like people, I know people don't make this joke anymore, but like Jupiter's such a juggernaut. I don't give a shit. I'm going to say it anyways. But people used to joke around that it looks like the AT&T logo. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but So that's AT&T is an American telecom, and like Jupiter, this was their original logo, and over time they've obviously moved over to the blue and green. And Meteora has done something somewhat similar where I don't know what it is with the Raccoon Labs brands, but they all seem to go through like not major rebrands, but just like slight optimizations over time.
Which
it's very much just like ship, get it done, and then like okay, let's do things with intention. And I really love this branding. I think it looks absolutely wonderful. And obviously they have a whole bunch of new features that have been launched with V2. And one of the features I'm most excited for that I actually got to see live when I was at Accelerate, it's one of the very few chats. It was one of the very few talks at Accelerate I got to watch, was ASS. ASS. You hear about ASS?
I have not heard about ASS when it comes to Meteora.
It is. It's like I make cakes at the gym. Okay, not in my but ASS stands for Advanced Sniper Suite. It's a whole bunch of infrastructure that they're building out in the back end to reduce sniping for new tokens. So especially ones that are launched on Meteora. So congratulations to the team on your enhanced ass.
That's great. Yeah, sniping. I don't know why sniping remains a problem in crypto since years, and we have so many smart people working on this, and we haven't figured it out completely yet. Just such a fundamental problem of the ecosystem, and thanks Meteora for working on these things. And also the liquidity lock, also another feature that got shipped, which is pretty cool, like a custom liquidity lock where you can do like time-based locking right when you deploy a pool. And you can say, I want to lock it for like a day or two or a week or whatever. That makes things easier as well. You don't need to a third party this as well. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, check out the new Meteora V2 under v2.meteora.ag, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Zen, Mir, Soju, Malcolm, love you. Congratulations on the launch of V2.
Yes, sir. Congrats, guys.
Okay, moving on. We have a little fun update. It's kind of a bit of a culture update here, and technically a new launch on Solana. But Franck Muller has announced new watches in collaboration with Solana. Only 1,111 timepieces have been created, and I think they have some nifty features here, including a QR code. If I'm not mistaken, is that like a wallet feature? Like, what exactly is going on here?
They used to. I mean, Frank Muller did that with Bitcoin as well, where there was a wallet embedded in the watch. So I think they do that. Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not a big watch guy. Don't judge me for that. So I'm not super familiar with the brand itself. But obviously, I know that they've been tinkering with crypto since a while. Frank Muller has always been doing crypto shit. I think they're pretty known for their Bitcoin watches.
I see.
But yeah, let's check what are the main features of this here, of this watch. I mean, obviously it's Solana branded, okay, so you can basically show off what community you
your
belong
wallet
to.
address, your data never shared, always secure. I don't know what that means, because if you have a QR code, your data definitely will get shared if people scan.
I mean, yeah, but
It
it's your wallet ID. It's your wallet ID, right? So that's pretty public.
Yeah, sure.
Connect to your Solana wallet and evolve with you. Unlocks early access, exclusive events, and on-chain rewards. Okay, so it's kind of a hardware product with blockchain features, as well.
Nah, man,
Because I'm pretty sure.
it's a fucking Solana watch. Okay, that's all.
well, I mean, they say it is more than that, right? That's
Yeah.
the brand. That's what they want us to know. So it's not just a watch; it is a wallet. It also gives you rights for whatever early access or some shit, or like some features, some perks that come with the watch with your ownership.
I'm just imagining getting like a Casio, like a $20 Casio, and then just printing a small little QR code and just like sticking the.
That's actually a good idea.
Because functionally it's the same thing. But at the same time, look, I'm also not a watch guy. I don't give a shit about watches. I think the Apple Watch is actually the best watch that's ever been engineered. And there are plenty of people who would disagree with that opinion. They would point to the centuries of timekeeping pieces that have been probably thousands of years at this point, actually, not just centuries. But all due respect to the watchmaking tradition and all the people who practice it, I don't give a fuck. So, but I mean, like that, they're beautiful watches. I just because like you understand how the watch. I think it's a beautiful watch. I mean, like for someone who has. I mean, it's not a.
Here's my opinion. I think
yeah.
I think it looks like something my future 8-year-old son could put on his wrist and then go to school with it. I think it looks, especially the Solana version, looks like a fucking child watch. Is this
this watch one?
Thank you. At least I'm not the only person that sees it that way. I think it just looks like a little schoolboy watch, and it's pricey for a schoolboy watch. The QR code feature is amazing, but I'd rather fucking tattoo the QR code on my wrist, honestly, than put it on a watch. But yeah, shout out to Frank Muller. Thank you for recognizing the Solana community by coming with your Solana edition. But if we talk more about watches, I think then my short is gonna explode into a big fat profit, because normally price tanks as shit when crypto bros talk watches. So we should stop talking about watches right now.
Well, wasn't the last time that Solana blew up from like the high 300s down to where we are now was when Mert started talking about watches? Like literally the timing was perfect. Like Mert started talking about watches and the price of Sol just fucking tanked. And we're like, thanks, Mert. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. It's kind of an inside joke between Solana brothers. So yeah. Moving on to the next big update. What do you got? What else?
Meteora is not the only team that launched V2. We also have Camino. I've known about this for a bit, but now it's finally live. Camino Lend V2 is now on mainnet. Again, we've mentioned this before, but Camino has $4 billion in AUM, making it the most trusted money market on Solana thus far. If we're looking at like, okay, there's this V2. What the hell does it mean? A bunch of stuff, actually. It's not even a single thing. It's curated earn vaults. It's a pro borrow UX, modular markets, which is the main feature, isolated risk environments, advanced market setups, instant market creation, margin leverage, as well as Camino RWAs. Also a major update to Camino. But primarily, I know that the upgrades that were made to Camino Lend V2 were kind of more angled towards how do we make this institutional grade? Camino has gotten to $4 billion in deposits purely off the back of retail, as well as like some, larger sources of capital. But if we're talking about getting BlackRock, right, to use Camino, let's say, they're going to need Camino V2. So that's congratulations to Marius and to Marky, Deuce, all the boys over at Camino. What are your thoughts on Camino V2, my friend?
I think it's crazy how everyone is shipping. First of all, that's my that's when we came into this episode. I was like, okay, we got a lot of stuff on the agenda, and we're not done after this, by the way. It's pretty crazy that all these teams are shipping these huge updates, because V2 is a big thing. Like Camino Land V2 is like V1 has been around for a long time. It has been utilized so much already. It has been going through 14 security audits already, the V1 system, and now V2 is attempting to make lending, borrowing, trading easier and more powerful even. And they have like curated earn vaults, pro borrow user experience, modular markets, margin leverage, Camino RWAs, bringing reward assets like stocks or real estate to Solana. So like a lot of words definitely that they throw around in this announcement, and they are not words, they're actually parts of their new product. And definitely I think we are at the frontier here of decentralized finance innovation with Camino shipping these updates, so big shout out to them.
They also have for the launch almost 300K in incentives that are being awarded across multiple markets. And small little shout out to Sanctum over here. What's up, Sanctum fam? But yeah, we have obviously 144 INF, which is $34,000 to power. This next version of Camino. It's not just us, but a bunch of partners. Check it out, Camino V2.
I think
now this.
I think the 1 second, the RWA thing, by the way, is something that is really. I mean, it has been hot since a while, right? Like RWAs have been hot since a while, but now. What company was it again at that announced the? I mean, first of all, there's Kraken, right? So Kraken is bringing stocks, tokenized stocks on their exchange, together with a partner, and they are using Solana, by the way. For that. So that's one thing. And then we have, I forgot the name of that company that's also tokenizing stocks on Solana.
I think it's called Superstate or something like that.
Yeah, we covered it before. Thank you, sir. Superstate as well, being active in that field now, and they have been making waves in the past weeks. And now Camino is also talking about RWAs on Solana, like tokenized stocks and real estate, and they're working already with Securitize again, which is a big player in that market, and Stakehouse Fi, which I haven't heard yet before, to make this happen. And they're starting with an asset called ACRED, ACRED. I can check real quick what that is, but they definitely are pushing also on the RWA front. So I think, a lot of RWA and tokenized stock related topics here that I see.
I think that the way that I'm seeing RWA shape out, it's only going to be the guys who are selling the shovels that are going to stay. Like Securitize is probably going to be here for a while, because they power everything, right? Like they do the hard bits to bring stocks on chain, and reward assets on chain. But everyone else is just distribution, right? So like Camino is. I mean, Camino is trying desperately not to be that. That's why Camino has launched Camino Swap in the past, and that's why Camino has
Mm.
launched their own version of RWA. Like they don't want to be, um, just kind of like the dumb provider. They not just the distribution. They actually want to own the full
Well,
stack. So we'll see in
yeah.
there. Yeah, what's up? Yep.
I mean, if you own the user, then you have also like a lot of power in the market. That's the thing. Like it's good that Securitize has the tech for it and is ready to do it, but they have to reach the people, right? And that's why wallets are so valuable and so highly valued companies, because they don't do shit really, despite swaps and holding money. When I say money, I mean cryptos. But they have the users. Wallets have all the
Yeah, but
users.
owning the users, just to use like telecoms as an example, doesn't always mean everything. Like if you remember, like your relationship with your telecom used to be the most important relationship that you had, right? As it pertained to your mobile services, right? So
Hmm.
the first app stores were owned by Verizon. They were owned by AT&T, right? But at the end of the day, right, who ended up winning that war wasn't the person who owned the customer, like the phone, right? It ended up being another person who owned the customer, which was like the people, like the
Mm.
actual platform that provides the apps. I'm not saying that we were super early in the RWA
Yeah.
market, and it can go any number of ways. But like we've
Mm.
seen in the past, people who've had very very strong distribution, like essentially fail to innovate, and they don't really own the customer anymore because they don't own the underlying tech. But
Yeah.
again, like I'm not saying that's how that's going to play out, but we'll see for sure.
Yeah, we're early, but it's moving. RWAs are moving.
Yeah,
It's
for
definitely
sure.
exciting these days.
But fuck RWAs for a second, Simon, because I am the most. This is the announcement that I am most excited for this week. We have Solana ID, validated credentials, bro. Trust me, does not scale. Tell us all about Solana ID's career attestation, Simon.
Yes, sir. Actually, the announcement came initially from the foundation, because maybe we can pull that up actually first. Let me just
Sure.
pull that announcement up. We announced the Solana Attestation Service, and the Solana Attestation Service is a brand new um, protocol on Solana that is called the SAS in short, and it allows companies and individuals, anyone basically, to issue credentials, any kind of credentials that can attest to identity objects like KYC status or your geography or whatever it is actually. And then it allows other people to permissionlessly verify these credentials. And Solana ID has built a first pilot use case of that. Kind of I see it as kind of a project to break into the technology and to make people understand what it is, because everyone understands what career attestations are. Basically, it attests that you have worked at Sanctum as chief vibes officer, right? So that role can be attested by Sanctum using Solana ID and the SAS. You okay there?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry.
So with career attestations, you can now actually prove that you have worked for a company, and people don't just have to believe that you said that, because there's actually a huge churn and a huge inefficiency when new hires are made and people have to verify that everything on your resume is actually true. Like, how do you do that? Calls need to be made, emails need to be written, documents need to be exchanged that verify these things, because otherwise it's just trust me, bro. Right? Like everyone can say, I have worked at Google, but have you really, or was it just an internship? So LinkedIn bios and LinkedIn resumes are usually highly inaccurate,
Mhm.
because you can just write whatever you want. But with the SAS, with the attestation layer on Solana, we can now attest to things like career attestations on chain on Solana. And obviously, our use case here, the career attestations are just one sample use case of it. But the SAS can be leveraged for all kinds of things. We can do reusable KYC, and SumSub is actually breaking into that on Solana with reusable KYCs as well. We can use it for for proof of location, right? Like, are you a US citizen or not? Prove it. And you can issue an attestation to that. And once you have that attestation linked to your wallet, you never have to do it again. You can just, log in with your wallet, and they can see the credential and ease of use. So,
I've
yeah.
I've had to do a lot of KYC recently for reasons I won't explain. And in that moment, I just thought to myself, like, why isn't this just connected to Solana ID? Because I'm just so sick of, and it's like with the same fucking bank too. It's all like, bro, you already have all my shit. Are we really going to do this
Mm.
again?
Yeah, it can't be the
Yeah,
future.
it can
That
be.
really
It
can't
can
be.
very frustrating. Yeah, no. So like honestly, this solves a real problem that we have. I mean, this solves a lot of problems, but career attestations is obviously a great place to start.
Yeah,
And this video is making me laugh because I know exactly where and when you recorded this video because I was sitting
you
right
were there.
across from you. Yeah, exactly. As you were filming it, and you were hustling. Like I swear, the last 2 weeks, I've been hanging out with you for the last 2 weeks, on and off, from Canada all the way to New York, and every
Yep.
single time I've seen you, you've been filming. Every single fucking time. It's insane. It's like the
Kind of part of
amount
my job.
of I thought that I put out a lot of video content and I just don't. Compared to you, I just got to step up my game, man.
Yeah, I mean, we can always use actors for Solana ID, so the door is wide open for you.
Yeah.
You've been featured once before. People love you, so whenever we do something, you should appear as well in these little skits. But
Sounds
yeah,
good
it's
to me,
fun.
man.
It's a fun way to announce new products, right? Especially on
Yes.
Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations on SAS, the Solana attestation service by Solana ID.
Not
And
only
then
by
moving on,
uh,
I think that
SAS
excuse me.
is by SAS is by the Identity Consortium. So the Solana Attestation Service is not just built by Solana ID; it's by a consortium of identity companies and so on.
I
Just to
see.
give credit to everyone in that consortium.
Yeah. Cool story, bro. So SAS powered by Solana ID. Anyways, continuing.
Whatever. You did
Well,
your
I
part.
mean, it's kind of like
Yeah, this is my
okay,
podcast. I can say whatever I
Ju-
want.
no, I'm no. Jupiter Lend is powered by Fluid, right? Which is like everyone understands and appreciates that. But you know what I mean?
But it's stupid. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like okay, Jupiter Lend totally. Fluid is powering that. But, Jupiter Lend. So, Solana attestation service, it's a consortium totally. But
We're doing it.
Solana
We're
80.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are doing it. So, yes, congratulations to that Solana
Thank you,
ID.
sir.
And we're just going to move on. The next few announcements are not some of our bigger announcements. They're a bit some smaller items, but still important. The Fuel Rewards program by Drift is coming to an end. It's been a program to incentivize usage of the platform over the last few months. A claims page will be available after a few weeks. So they need a little bit more time to get that sorted. But for people who have been participating in the Fuel Rewards program, congratulations. The program is finally over, and you will be getting your rewards very soon. Another update from Drift is that Drift Institutional is here. And what they're doing is this white glove service to bring real world assets onto the Solana DeFi ecosystem. Two very different announcements. One signifying the end to their fuel program, and the second is that they're making some really significant moves on the institutional side. And hey, surprise, surprise, Securitize is here again in partnership with Drift Institutional and Apollo. What are your general thoughts? Like, Drift is making a lot of moves, yeah.
I mean, like that's why I said the EP is big. These updates are all in the same kind of shape, I think, because they're kind of big, they're meaningful. I see that like we can see these trends, right? Like there's more institutional products coming. We talked about Huma before. Like Huma has a consumer product, it's an API product, but they also have Huma permissioned, right, which is an institutional product. So only for institutions, you have to go through identity verifications and so on and so on. We talked about Camino earlier. They also work with Apollo. You see Apollo here, where they also are doing some tokenized credit fund, basically, that is coming to Solana via Apollo, and all these kind of stuff is in the permissioned institutional RWA sector. So I think we can definitely identify a big trend right here on Solana. The institutions are here. They're not coming. They are here.
Yeah. And moving on from Drift, we have. Oh, this is right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent, we covered it. Apollo's tokenized credit fund is on Solana, and they're doing this now with Camino Finance. I mentioned it earlier before that Camino is right now has an RWA product as well, and they're doing it together with Apollo. And it's a credit fund basically that has been tokenized. And yeah, it's also coming to Drift at the same time.
Oh damn. Okay, so this is what we're. Okay, I see. I saw this and I wasn't able to contextualize it. Thank you for
Yep.
contextualizing it for my dumbass. And we have
Sure.
also some kind of more fun updates as well. So Wormhole is working with
Yep.
Doge to bring it multi-chain, and Doge is finally coming onto Solana. I almost kind of feel
Cool.
like, yeah, no, it's great, it's great, it's great.
Why is it not great?
uh,
Why is it not great?
no, no, it's Doge is great for so many reasons. Like I actually really love Doge. It's one of those. It's like literally the first meme coin back when
Yeah,
like you
right.
couldn't just like when you couldn't launch meme coins with a lot like a a press of the button. The developer didn't even keep most of the supply. I'm sure he's given interviews where he says that he has no regrets about selling most of his Doge. But I
Mm.
like like any rational thinking person would think to myself, that's absolutely not fucking true. Of course, you regret your life decisions. You held a majority position in Doge, but at the same time, that's what makes the story so compelling because it has like
Mm.
100% float, right? Like all the token supply is out there. There's no
Yeah.
insiders to dump on you or anything. Like, I mean, there are people to dump on you, like, but at the same time, it's not like people who got allocations from day one. It's people who bought in very early. Um,
Yeah, it's a super fair token, if you want to say
yeah,
so. And it's been around for so long now that it has huge ecosystem acceptance, and yeah, there's a lot of trading volume and activity. Like Doge is, people people sometimes compare it to fucking big Bitcoin, which is a bit ridiculous. But then on the other side, you're like, okay, well, like Bitcoin doesn't have a utility, like really. Doge doesn't
I
have a
mean,
utility.
is it that ridiculous? I mean,
That's why, yeah. That's why I'm saying. I mean, it sounds
yeah,
ridiculous. I really don't want to say it. I don't want to say it out loud. But then if you think about it, then you're like, to an extent, there are some similar characteristics. And anyway, the big bottom line here, is everything is coming to Solana.
yeah. But like, still, like my face, I was kind of like, eh. I Everyone is coming to Solana now, and so it just kind of makes it hard for me to care, even though I should totally care. And I think that where that emotion or thought is coming from is just pure tribalism. I don't think it's a healthy response, but it is my honest response, which is kind of, and also I'm a bonk maxi, so it's just kind of like if I had my choice to invest in either like Bonk or Doge, like I'm just going to put it into Bonk all day. And the reason why I'm going to put it
Right.
into Bonk all day is because Bonk has been philosophically, spiritually, and monetarily aligned with Solana from day zero, right? Whereas
Hmm.
like Wormhole is coming in Doge is coming in years later, saying like, "Hey guys, we're here on Solana," and it's kind of like, well, Wormhole has had the tech to do this for years, right? And now you're joining the party when everything is all rosy, which is fine. Like it like makes sense, but also it makes me respect you or like you less.
Mm.
Then let's say if I could back an equivalent ecosystem project, and that has been our complaints about like Pump Fun as a launch pad versus like any other competing launch pad like Bonk Fun or Let's Bonk Fun, right?
Mm.
Because I would rather support Bonk's Launchpad as opposed to Pump Fun, and I would rather support Bonk than Doge. And I think that community love actually translates at some point to monetary benefit. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's a bad thesis, but that's kind of how my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It is a bit of tribalism going on, and very it's kind of your subjective view on this, and I'm with you on that. But what it means for Solana is that we are, well, we're here now. Like, you cannot get rid of Solana anymore. Like, it's
Yeah,
over. Solana is here to stay because everyone who has a name in the crypto ecosystem got it now. Even ETH maxis, right? Even ETH maxis that have launched NFTs on Ethereum launched their fucking tokens on Solana. Even
yeah,
Dogecoin, who never was in any kind of tribe, is now like, Solana is so big. There's so much trading volume going on. They're so serious. I kind of have to put some liquidity over there, and bring some of my tokens there.
sure.
So
Yeah, 100% agree. This is
Win.
positive for the ecosystem. 100%. This is a win.
Yeah.
There's no negatives for Doge joining the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Um,
W for Solana.
and I think for the last couple of, you want to cover these last two topics or skip over them? We're over time right now, and I'm happy to cover them. Just kind of curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah. I think, this one thing we can quickly tell people, if you are listening to Sol Brothers, you're most likely interested in Solana, and you might not know what's happening left and right, then we can also give you a few hints, only because this topic kind of also affects all kind of blockchains, in my opinion, at least the implications of it. I'm talking about the Sui hack. So for people who have missed the train, there was a big DeFi protocol called CETUS, the biggest DeFi protocol on Sui, that got hacked. And 220 mil or some shit is the amount, right?
220
million.
Million. Yeah.
Yeah, $223 million got taken out of the ecosystem, of the Sui ecosystem, by the hackers. And then very quickly after the hackers got the money, they transferred it over to the Ethereum blockchain, because the SuiNetwork quickly, what's the word for it? They basically just found the addresses of the hackers and then took them out of the. They just don't acknowledge them anymore, and you can't.
They didn't acknowledge the transactions themselves, right? So once they identified the wallets, they're like, oh, okay, well then these transactions are just null and void. Yeah, right.
They censored the transactions, right? And that itself was a bit spicy, because I mean, they've been cornered, right? Sui has been cornered, because obviously, what do you do? Like, it's a huge ass hack. You have to protect your ecosystem. You have to protect your holders. You have to protect your token. The Sui token actually didn't really drop a lot when it happened. That was kind of surprising to me. But obviously everything else dropped on Sui. Like, all the liquidity got drained out of CETUS from all the other token pools, because that's literally where the funds came from, the stolen funds. Anyway. Censoring transactions, is that something a decentralized blockchain ecosystem should be able to do in such a quick time? On Ethereum, I think it wouldn't have happened that quickly, because it's highly decentralized and you can't censor transactions that quickly on Ethereum. That's also why the hacker took the money and put it on Ethereum, because there he can do whatever he wants, which is now you're like, okay, is that good or bad? Well, it is bad if you want to protect money, but it is good if you want to if your credibility of a decentralized blockchain ecosystem is more important to you than protecting user funds. So it's kind of a two-sided coin here, but I think Sui kind of has proven themselves with this action that it's very easy for them to control the network if they want to. They just have to call a few people, pull a few strings.
I think that in an ideal world, you would have a sufficiently decentralized system, but you could also censor hacked transactions. I actually do think that is how, like, the world that I would want to live in, right?
I mean, you can blacklist the wallets. You can make sure that they can't transact.
No, I mean straight up not to acknowledge transactions from hacks. Like, I'm being serious about that. Like, if there were a system in which all the validators could agree within a very, very short time period, to basically like, I mean, like, let's just say I mean, like, this would never, I mean, never say never, knock on wood. But let's say for all of the Solana Foundation's wallets got drained. I mean, that just seems impossible to me, because they probably have, so many signatories and safeguards around the funds. But let's just say, for hypothetically speaking, I would be okay if the validators were like, you know what, we're just not going to acknowledge those those transactions that led to the draining of the funds.
I mean, sure. I mean, obviously it saves us. Obviously it saves our ecosystem. It saves the world, everything around it. So that's great. But then why the fuck are we a blockchain? Like, why are we not just a centralized?
No. See, no. You don't want an arbitrary amount of people to make that decision. You want enough people at consensus, assuming that it's sufficiently decentralized enough, and there's room for debate, right? But let's say there was some sort of fast track system, right, where it's all validators are keep paying attention to major that this architecture, this system does not exist yet. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if you could get people from all around the world who are just different validators, right, to agree, like, okay, if a hack is like, I don't know what the criteria would be, but just as a matter of like, just as by way of example, if a hack is over $1 billion, right, and that $1 billion would lead to a catastrophic, implosion of the Solana DeFi ecosystem, should we recognize that transaction? And I think most reasonable people would agree, like, no, you shouldn't, right? Because it would blow everything up. I mean, it was truly a hack, right? Like, if that's something that all the validators can agree on, then, like, it's fine. That's what decentralization for. Decentralization doesn't mean that you can't reverse things. It just means that you need enough people to say that that's the case, right? Like, where do we have an issue with it is where you have one person or like a team of like 3 people who are really making that decision. Like, that's a problem, right? But if it's like, I don't know, a super majority of like 1,000 validators, like,
I mean,
is that so bad?
Again, but it's just I don't know how feasible that is, but that's a discussion for a different set of people, I think. Like, how feasible is that of a system? Like, does that work? That's basically the question. And how, right? But we can answer that. We're just the Sol Brothers. We talk about vibes and tokens and ecosystem updates. But definitely, yeah. I mean, the Sui hack, I think, was it was huge. It was unfortunate. We don't know who the hackers were. I think, knock on wood, that this doesn't happen to us on Solana anymore. I think we have, we didn't have a huge hack like this on Solana since a while, right? If I remember correctly.
I mean, we had Loop Scale just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Loop Scale was there, but I think it was.
But they handled it very well. Yeah, they handled it very well.
Okay.
So, nice. Best of luck to the Loop Scale team. But anyways, that concludes this week's edition of Sol Brothers, episode 30. Simon, congrats.
30, episode 30, the week after Bitcoin all-time high. Actually, by the way, I think we didn't talk about that yet. Congrats. Bitcoin literally made a new all-time high last week during Accelerate, I think, which was pretty crazy. 111,000 something. So let's see where the journey brings us. But we are here with you on that journey, and we're happy that you're with us, with the Sol Brothers, and tuning into our podcast. If you are not following us yet, then make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify if you want to listen to the pod, or on YouTube if you want to also see our pretty faces. You can also check our Twitter at Sol Brothers Pod, because we are shipping exclusive short form content that is actually pretty dope to watch, and it gives you the roundhouse kick of the latest and greatest on Solana, plus some highlights here and there from some exclusive interviews as well. So make sure to follow us wherever you can. Thank you so much for joining this episode as well, if you're in the live stream. And we will see you again next week when it's time for episode number 31 for the Sol Brothers. Until then, have a good time and a good rest of the week.
Adios.